For so many years, for like 3 years, Russia, Russia, Russia. It's such a joke right now. Guys, America is such a joke. They threw Russia down our throat. They threw Mueller down our throat. Just listen to the best show on TV. Just listen to Tucker Carlson right here, okay?
It was completely absurd. It was obviously absurd. There was never any evidence that it was true, but they kept saying it day after tiresome day until it stuck.
Russia, Russia, Russia.
And so every single CNN viewer, every single PBS donor, every subscriber to the New Yorker magazine believed it as a matter of religious faith. Russia hacked our democracy. It was almost on their tote bags. It was their mantra.
The Russians exploited a massive backdoor into the foundation of our democracy. Moscow's attack on American democracy.
The work by Russian agents to try to destabilize American democracy.
It's everything you need to know about the threat to our democracy.
You have Republicans who are silent and seemingly okay with this kind of attack on our democracy.
There is no question that Russia attacked us.
We're attacks, ladies and gentlemen, on our Constitution.
Attack on the integrity of our election.
I can't even watch this. Listen to these people. Listen to them. It's really disgusting, man. Over how many years we had to do this, put up with this? Continue watching this.
An attack on our democracy.
The first time we've had an adversary attack us that we have not responded.
These people brandishing their silly credentials like we have a moral obligation to listen to them because they know what they're talking about. They were fools reading their stupid talking points again and again like they were real, but they were doing it for a reason. The beauty of the Russia fable was that it allowed these people, our ruling class, to ignore the huge number of actual problems the United States faced, problems that in many cases they caused or at very least failed to solve. The drug addiction crisis that has killed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands over time, the border that is essentially open, a disappearing middle class, the core of our country, the rise of China, and then, of course, any number of counterproductive foreign wars that should have ended long ago. For 3 years, nobody in Washington talked about any of this. In fact, failing to worry about Russia.
For 3 years, it felt like a lifetime, Tucker. It felt like 10 years.
Exclusively invited suspicion on you. If you wanted, for example, American troops home to the Middle East, or if you wondered aloud why no one seemed to care when your 23-year-old niece died of a fentanyl OD, that might be evidence you too were colluding with Russia. And that's not an exaggeration. Susan Rice, who seems smart, she went to Stanford, admitted later that she decided Michael Flynn was a Russian spy because he talked too much about China. And that's what Russian spies do. Now, Donald Trump was elected, no one thought he would be, precisely because he talked about issues like these, the ones that mattered. That was a massive threat. So they derailed, to a large extent, his first-term agenda, using a hoax concocted by the administration he replaced. Who benefited from this? Well, the people who thought it up. But nobody benefited more than the Chinese government. While our leaders in Washington wasted literally years accusing each other of working for Putin,
I know.
China grew more powerful. It
So
grew
true.
closer to replacing the United States as the world's dominant nation. By the time this version of coronavirus spread west from Wuhan, China was calling many of the shots internationally. We didn't even know it until the crisis hit. For example, the U.S. has given far more money than any other nation to the World Health Organization. And yet, strangely, our ally, Taiwan, still is not a member of the WHO. Why is that? Only one reason: China doesn't want them to be. And so they're not. China is effectively in control of the WHO. Want proof? Watch the director of the World Health Organization repeat the most ridiculous Chinese propaganda as if it were all completely true with an utterly straight face. That's right. As always, if you want to know who's really in charge, watch the lies they tell.
The Chinese government is to be congratulated for the extraordinary measures it has taken to contain the outbreak. China is actually setting a new standard for outbreak response, and it's not an exaggeration.
So the new standard the fake doctor you just saw is promoting, in the end, created the worst economic calamity since the Great Depression, a calamity that China benefited immensely from. China may be the only country on the globe that has become stronger. in the face of this. No doubt the Chinese government was pleased with what their puppets at the WHO accomplished. Last night, the President of the United States released a letter to the World Health Organization warning that the U.S. will suspend funding permanently if the organization doesn't reform itself right away and wean itself from China. We'll see if that happens. Either way, though, the problem is much bigger than just the World Health Organization. China's tentacles extend almost everywhere in our society. The Chinese government is now deeply enmeshed in higher education in this country. It's not an overstatement. A number of university professors, including one today, have been arrested for spying on behalf of Beijing. Literally spies on campus. Tenured spies.
Guys, this is Johnny Montana. China basically owns our country, America. By the way, this is Hillary Clinton right here. She's going to be running for president, not Joe Biden. This is Hillary Clinton. She's going to be running for president, not Joe Biden. But China's been doing this for years. And us, a bunch of stupid Americans, we just fight with each other. And I'm in the heartbeat of the city. I'm right here in the epic part of New York City. This is Johnny Montana 3B. Check my page out. Check out my movie. This is disturbing because nobody else is talking about this. All the other networks are paid off and they don't want to talk about this. People still believe the WHO. People still believe they threw this Russian stuff at us for 4 years. Not 3 years, Tucker. It was like 4 years. It was Russia. It was Mueller. It was impeachment. It's every single thing. This whole Corona-19 is all because of the election. I guarantee you guys, I'm going to flip back and let's catch the end of Tucker right here. Hold on.
China has profound influence in Hollywood. You know that. In professional sports, we saw that last year. And in corporate America, up and down the chain.
Professional sports, Tucker, you left out basketball. They pay every basketball player. China supports basketball. That's why basketball was the first team, was the first sport that stopped. Remember, they all got supposedly infected at the Corona-19 at the press conference? Basketball is controlled by China. I'm a filmmaker. I lived in LA. China controls LA. They do everything. They own buildings in New York. No one else is talking about this. Why?
The Chinese own huge amounts of real estate throughout this country. One of the reasons your kids can't afford to live in our cities. All of this has changed our lives in profound ways, but all of it happened with very little public notice. Why? Because the people making it possible didn't want to advertise it. They were getting very rich from it. Every ambitious climber in corporate America knows the rules now. Don't offend Beijing, and you could be rewarded. The head of Disney's streaming service just left to become CEO of TikTok. That's a Chinese company. That may appall you, but in corporate America, many are envious. They wish they were him. Washington hasn't been immune to this either. China's influence is everywhere in the capital city. Former Senator Joe Lieberman lobbies for China now. Hard to believe, isn't it?
No, but Joe Biden's going to save everyone, Tucker. You're right. Joe China is going to fix everything.
Jane was a top cybersecurity official for the Obama administration. Now he lobbyists for Huawei. And those are just a couple of the very few who followed the law and actually registered under FARA as foreign lobbyists. Hunter Biden never bothered to do that. Biden worked hard to sell his access to politicians in Washington, presumably his father, the vice president, chief among them, to investors who were getting rich in China. It was never a secret. Many people in Washington knew exactly what Hunter Biden was doing, and they did.
It's Joe China, but nobody talks about this. How come nobody talks about this? This is just so disturbing that I watch this and I see this. It's driving me crazy. I never got involved in politics. I don't want to be involved in politics. I just wanted to make people laugh and sort of, not wear this Hillary Clinton shirt, either. But it's like the whole world is insane. And what he's saying is making so much sense. Guys, continue watching this. Check out my link for my film. I'm going to post this too. All right? Finish him off, Tucker.
Didn't say anything to anybody. Why? Because it didn't seem weird to them. It wasn't strange. So many other well-connected people were doing the same thing, selling access to elected officials in Washington to the Chinese. Nancy Pelosi still doesn't understand why any of this is a big deal. Pelosi has spent decades bowing to the Chinese government, even as she attacks this country as racist and backward as she does virtually every day of the week. Just the other day, Pelosi announced that no conversation about China is legitimate. It's all a distraction.
Let me just say that what the president is saying about China is interesting. It's an interesting diversion. Let's keep our focus on meeting the needs of the American people, opening our economy.
Yeah, it's a diversion. How many antibiotics do we make in this country?
Zero, nothing. We don't make anything in this country, Tucker.
All in China. Just a diversion. When you watch something like Pelosi's statement, a terrifying thought creeps up from the back of your mind. Is China now too strong to criticize? Is our only option to submit? Maybe. We'll find out. Even now, there's certainly downsides for anyone who dares say a negative word about Beijing. China is now threatening to punish elected American officials who dare to criticize the Chinese response to coronavirus. Hard to believe. They're saying that out loud.
On Instagram, Johnny Montana 3B. I'm just starting my YouTube account, so please subscribe. I'm just starting it. For years, I was never one on YouTube. I'm just starting my YouTube. You got to check out my Instagram too, Johnny Montana 3B. And my YouTube is Johnny Montana live in New York City. Just sign on and check it out, subscribe. And my videos are going to be a lot longer. I usually do minute videos. Yes, Hillary's still here. I hope you guys are well. Just getting stuff up. YouTube is a different animal. And I'll talk to you guys later. Okay? Ciao.